all the way back to when you first started getting into boxing, you know, did you have a favorite pro fighter that you look back at and you're like, that was my favorite pro fighter as a
You
kid?
know what? I grew up as a kid, in the 80s, just a kid. My dad always loved the sport. So he used to sit me down to watch Sugar Ray Leonard fight. And he became my favorite fighter, Sugar Ray Leonard. Watching him fight, his speed, you know, uh, unbelievable. So I loved I was has been my favorite fighter, but I always remember to also mention another one that could also be my favorite fighter, but it's like between both of them, Orlando Canizales. Orlando Canizales from Laredo, Texas. I used to love his footwork, man, and I I used to watch his fights, and I did a few of those side steps during some of my fights. I fought in the '90s, so a lot of people don't even remember me from fighting, or don't even know I was a fighter. But yeah, those side step footwork that Orlando Canizales used to do, I love them, and I try to get my fighters to do. Right now, Bam is probably the closest to that. He just has great footwork, but it's natural. Orlando did it so natural. Bam does it so natural. If you try to teach that to your fighters, it's gonna be hard because it's gonna be awkward. It might be a little bit difficult because that just has to come natural.
For sure, for sure. I see that too, and his movement in the ring is like wow, to me. And between you know building up Franco, first run leading up to the fights with uh Maloney. How did that feel? How were those like iconic moments, building up to the champions?
Yeah, you know what? When I first got that call from a good friend, Brad Goodman, who does the matchmaking for Top Rank, and told me, Robbie, do you think Franco wants to fight for the world title? At that time, honestly, we had no idea who the Malonis were. You know, Obviously on paper we knew he was a world champion, but never even paid attention to who he was or how he fought, because they're from Australia, so most of their career had been in Australia. But when Brad told me that they had signed them to come fight in the United States, and told me, if Franco was available, I didn't even have to tell Franco right away. I said, of course he's available, and Franco has Golden Boy Promotions who promotes him, but I didn't even have to call Golden Boy at first, to tell them that Brad Goodman had called me. I said, look, I do want the fight, but you have to call them. You call them, and yeah, they worked something out. They made a deal. But when Golden Boy called me to offer me the fight, I already knew, because Brad called me first, but I already knew we were gonna fight for the title. Going into it was a challenge also, because even though I have a really good relationship with Top Rank, going into the enemy's territory, pretty much under their promotion, and everything's against us. It's during the pandemic, so nobody from Golden Boy Promotions was even there. It was just us, myself, the fighter, the dad, and my son. My assistant. Nobody else. There was no people allowed, and all of Top Rank was there against us. They were all there. Uh, so it was just us against everybody. I against the whole promotion and TV and everything. And we go out there and beat them, and Josh becomes world champion. It was just a special feeling, like I told you, from kids that you turn pro, and then you see develop them into becoming world champions. That's the best feeling there. And then going into the pros from the amateurs, a lot of people might not know this also, but smaller weight divisions nobody really cares about. Uh, Promoters, managers, they TV networks, they don't really care for smaller weight divisions. So finding Franco a contract with Golden Boy was not easy. I had to sell Franco with a package with Hector Tanajara, and Jonathan Navarro, and Genaro Gomez. 3 top amateurs, 140-pounders, 135-pounder, 132-pounders. Those are weight divisions that promoters want. The lightweights, the welterweights. Promoters want those. So they all wanted Tanajara, they all wanted Navarro, and they all wanted Gomez, but they didn't want Franco. They didn't want Franco. But I told them it's either 4 or none. So that's how I got Franco signed by Golden Boy, because it's all 4 or none. So they signed him, which was good. And look, and now he's a world champion.
Amen to that, man. Amen to that. Like, he's always been a stand-up guy. He was one of the first ones I interviewed on my channel. Interviewed him over FaceTime, actually. And I was just amazed, like, damn, dude, I'm interviewing a world champion. You know, he didn't even have to take this interview with me. And
great kid.
It was in Las Vegas, FaceTiming him in Las Vegas as Bam, the night before Bam was gonna fight during the pandemic, and right before the Maloney Part 2, or before it was announced, and he was leading towards that, and both fights, you know, getting the title, defending the title, and everything. How did that feel to you?
You know what? Going to Bam also, you know, when Bam came to me when he was 15, still a little kid, then we decided that at 17 we were gonna turn him pro. So once again, you know, he's even smaller than Franco because he's a 108-pounder. Yeah. So I couldn't get any top promoter to get interested in Bam. So I called Mr. Honda, Taking Promotions, who promoted my first 3 professional fights in Japan, because I fought in Japan 3 times. So I've always had a good relationship with Mr. Honda, and I know Mr. Honda deals with a lot of smaller weight divisions in Japan. There's a lot of small champions in Japan. So I asked him, you know what, Mr. Honda, we've never worked together with any fighters. I used to fight for you, but I have a young kid. I have a little kid that he just turned 17, but this kid could be special. This kid could be special. So Mr. Honda believed in me. So he was there with us since our pro debut, since Bam's pro debut. You know, couldn't fight in Japan because he's too small, too young to travel. It just gets too expensive. So I was fighting him, just buying spots on different shows in Mexico and Tijuana, just putting him in small shows just to get his record up there. Mm-hmm. Then, you know, he starts showing that he's got really good talent. So I got him on a few of PBC cards, and everybody said this kid is really good, but he's 108. So nobody offered a contract. I also fought him for Top Rank. Top Rank fought him during the pandemic, as you've seen on ESPN Plus. You know, he fought on the pandemic, looked phenomenal. You know, his performance, both performances were great under Top Rank, and they all told me, man, this kid is good. All right, well, you know, when are we going to sign him? When are we going to sign him? Never gave me a contract. You know, I also talked to Golden Boy. You know, Franco's already with Golden Boy, so I talked to Golden Boy. This kid, you know, and plus Golden Boy has a champion at 108. Mm-hmm. Kid from Nicaragua. He's a champion at 108. So I talked to my good friend Ernie Gavion. He works for Golden Boy. Talk to Eric. Talk to Robert Diaz. Tell them, bam, bam, bam. I'm pushing them. Oh yeah, Robert, we are. Never did. Never showed me a contract. So Matchroom puts him on Mikey's card in October.
Yep.
And right after that, they told me, we love him. Let's do a deal. Let's do his next fight, you know, February 5th. I'm like, right away. So they offered me a contract right away. So now that's why we're with Matchroom, because they believed in him and they showed us a contract right away. Where PBC, Top Rank, Golden Boy never showed me. They told me they did want it. They did want to do it, but never showed me anything, because, and I know it's because of the weight division. You know, people don't believe in well, they know they're never going to be that big, or they might never sell out, but Bam, after his performance, became a superstar. Everybody's talking about him. Every promoter is congratulating me about him. Every management, every big names, Aerospans, you name them, everybody's tweeting about him. So that kid became a superstar in one performance. We already knew he was a superstar because we have him in the gym and we see him training every day. But the whole world, nobody else knew him. So after that performance, he became a superstar. Now everybody would want to be part of him.
It was crazy because like I was, telling my family and stuff like that. I was saying, Franco, my boy, but he has a little brother, Bam. He's gonna be a world champion one day. They're both gonna be world champions, and they're gonna put on for San Antonio. And I'm like, man, dude, like if they listened to me back then, shoot, they wouldn't have been surprised, when it happened. It was crazy fight with Carlos. Amazing, his footwork to everything, and I was like, damn, dude, I'm seeing everything that I know Bam was all about.
Right. No, it's true, and you know what, and skills wise, his brother's also very skillful, but he just hasn't had, he obviously doesn't have the same footwork, but Franco, when he won the title against Maloney, then obviously we had to give him an immediate rematch because it was on the contract. If we win, we have to give him an immediate rematch. And then that, swatting in the eye situation happened. And we got a lot of heat over that, not only from Top Rank, obviously, but the whole boxing world. Everybody was pretty much telling us that Josh was no good, that he was going to get beat. And, not nobody really counted him as a solid champion because everybody thought it was a punch, and the ref called it a headbutt. So whatever it was, we gave him that third fight to prove Maloney, because Maloney was also talking a lot.
Yeah.
To prove Maloney and to prove especially the boxing world, who our even promoter, Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya himself, sent a tweet out after the fight. I didn't see no headbutt. His own promoter.
Wow.
You know what I mean? His own promoter didn't defend him. His own promoter didn't, instead of defending his own fighter, he said, I didn't see no headbutt. So, okay, so whatever it was, the decision was made. Okay? We walked away with that. We took all the heat. I told the team, we have to do the third fight against this guy to prove them that we're better than him. So we did the third fight. We go again against all odds. The promoter, TV, everything was against us. Again, we were there by ourselves, and we go out there and put a performance and beat him clearly beat him. So now there's no doubt that Franco is a world champion and also is one of the best 150 pounders. But now his little brother's there too, so they're both in the same division. It's pretty crazy, man, to have two brothers, same weight division, and everybody talking about Gallo Estrada against Bam, but Gallo Estrada has to do a mandatory against Franco, so it's insane.
Wow. Do you ever see would they ever do sparring in the ring together in the gym? They
do spar, but I don't put them to spar that much because they don't get the work that they're supposed to. They're brothers, so they both respect each other so much that they don't work as hard as they're supposed to. So I always put them with other guys because against each other they have, but I try not to because they won't do the work that I need them to do because they're brothers and they love each other. They respect each other so much that it's better not to have them spar.
For sure. And all the champions.
All the way. Are we going out tonight? All the way. I'ma chug the bottle, chug it all the way. Made it this far.